There have been a few films that have really surprised me this year, and the most recent is the new Shudder horror movie, Deadstream. Now, it's weird and funny and creepy all at the same time, so let's dive in. A disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house. But when he accidentally pisses off a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real-life fight for his life. So when this started off, I was rolling my eyes with how cheesy and cringy it was. Now, don't get me wrong, this is wildly cheesy in spots and then even more cringy at times throughout. And not just in that beginning opening scene, but that's also part of the charm of this movie. It's capitalizing on the live stream culture by putting a streamer in a situation where he chooses to spend the night alone in a supposed haunted house. Now, the setup is ridiculous, especially at the beginning where we're not really supposed to root for Sean, the streamer. But as his stunt continues, he actually becomes a little sympathetic and enjoyable. And it's hard to tell when he's overreacting for his audience or when he's genuinely freaked out by what he's experiencing. But either way, his screams are wildly entertaining. The cinematography and editing really make this movie. It's semi-found footage in the sense that because it's a live stream, Sean places GoPros all over this house, and then we get to see rooms and scenes from several different perspectives as they're actually happening. And sometimes things Sean can't see with his eyes are captured by the cameras, which is even freakier and fun. And there are times we'll get to see the streaming screen, and one of the things that were almost a distraction in a really great way was the scrolling comments from the viewers. Some were snarky or rude, and others were helpful and they hinted at what was to come. And those were even better as Sean didn't always see these comments right away. Now, the creep factor in this is surprisingly high. There were several times when the hairs on my arms and legs were standing up, and sometimes it was the visuals, but a lot of the time it was thanks to the sound design where we hear these strange sounds like scrapings or bumps or even cries coming from various portions of the house, which is also supposed to be empty other than Sean. Now, as you might expect, there are several jump scares in this. And the thing that I loved, though, is that I knew they were coming. There was an obvious setup and sometimes even this building sound. But when they came, I still jumped in spite of myself. The pace of this is excellent as it is constantly driving us forward with very little downtime. Now, there are some brief moments where the tension subsides just to let our blood pressure go back down, but then it picks right back up and goes full bore into more freaky action. And Sean bounces from room to room looking for either ghosts or a reprieve from the stress. And really, regardless of what his motivations are, the suspense and the anxiety, they're kept at high levels and then complemented and made even stronger by some comedic reactions and dialogue. And the story doesn't outstay its welcome. It's only 87 minutes, so it really does fly by. But within this, we get a complete story. It's not like I was searching for missing story elements or anything when it actually ended. We get a full arc that makes sense and gives us a clear resolution. And now I want to talk about the practical effects. These are stinking spectacular. There are some times when something is clearly a latex mask or an outfit, but even then, the visuals are gross and nasty, making them so much fun to look at. And there's a level of ridiculousness that comes with the practical effects, but I think that's what makes them even better. Sometimes I was covering my eyes or cringing at something disgusting, but I was also laughing at the exact same time. It's so fun when these two can mix and then create such an engaging watching experience. The imagery is visceral and gory, but it's never really meant to disgust us to a degree where we need to turn it off. When the gore begins, it fits, and it isn't overly gratuitous. Now, a lot of the time too, though, the violence is played for chuckles, or maybe anxiety-induced laughs. Sean reacting to the crap just going on around him, or maybe even to him, I thought was really entertaining. And the set design is also something that I really appreciate. We have this multi-story house that is decrepit and filthy. And instantly, it just sets the mood and the tone for a location that you really wouldn't want to be in. And I love that there were so many different hiding spaces, not only for Sean, but also for anything that might be creeping up after him. And there was just the right amount of trash that makes it feel abandoned, but also recently squatted in. Now, that being said, there was one moment where Sean is interacting with this chest, and although everything around it looked covered in dust and dirt, the chest looked relatively clean, which I thought was odd, but it also helped to raise other suspicions about what was happening. So the only bummer about watching this on Shudder is that it's not a packed theater with everybody reacting to the craziness of what's on the screen. There are times when it is best to have a shared experience in a horror movie, and this is definitely one of them. I would have loved to have been in a theater where we're all jumping or yelling or laughing together. So I think to make the most out of this watching experience, I recommend grabbing a whole bunch of friends or family, turning off the lights, and then just going on this insane ride as an entire group. So overall, Deadstream is a surprisingly creepy and humorous entry in the horror genre. The cinematography and set design create a chilling atmosphere that is then complemented by the horrifyingly comedic reactions of the lead. Anxiety, suspense, jump scares, and laughs all feel right at home in this haunted house tale that takes a simple premise and streams us all the goods. There's no sex, some brief nudity, some profanity, and then a ton of violence. I give Deadstream 4.5 out of 5 couches. I mean, this one surprised the heck out of me, and I really had a blast while I was watching it. I hope you also have just as much fun. So what's a haunted house themed horror that's worth checking out? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.